All right, YouTube, you in the building with the life game Avengers of current culture. Is me. It's that good homie Larry, the living legend. How you feeling tonight, brother?
Feeling like Black Lives Matter. That's how I'm feeling. For
I'm
those of you
feel-
that don't know, my name is Larry. I am black and my life matters.
and I'm feeling like I can't breathe because we seen this in May and we just seen it again this past Monday. There's a whole lot of grimy stuff going on in this country and a whole lot of grimy ass people siding on the wrong side of what is supposed to be equality for all. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to cover that. You see what was in the caption of the thumbnail. We are going to talk about P Valley. We're going to do that first. We are going to talk about white privilege and that punk ass white boy that was 17 that they started a GoFundMe for, like he's some damn vigilante Batman. And of course, we are going to talk about 3 stocks I think you all should have in your portfolio for long-term growth so that you can catch that 10% return that the FANG stocks has given us this far. So, Larry, I want to go on a soft note before we get into the heavy stuff. So let's just take a look at what's going on. Hey, Trisha C and everybody that's checking in. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going to happen on P Valley coming up this week, and we'll summarize it, and then we'll get into the other stories.
All right.
I'm all about that last drop.
Folks, your family. Don't you make me bear the Pynk without my bottom bitch.
So this your last dance for real, for real?
What's everybody's last dance?
Lord, we ask that you bless the Pynk tonight as we try to go out with one last bang. I've been looking for you.
Okay. Okay. Larry, after seeing quick snippets, break it down for me. What did you see is going on in episode 7? Keep in mind there's only 2 episodes after that left.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how everything turns out with Mercedes in Autumn Night, because they seem like they've gotten tight. I mean, it's it's one of those things where it seemed like it was just a straight money play where, Autumn went and got Mercedes out of jail, not necessarily because she really had some heartfelt feelings for Mercedes, but because she needed a person to help her with her hustle because it was too much for her by herself. But it's starting to feel like maybe there's something more there, something actually growing there. So I'm hoping that's the case. So I'm curious to see how that's all going to turn out, and especially what's going to happen, how Mercedes might actually be able to help Autumn when her dude comes around and starts doing whatever, whether he tries to put hands on her or tries to expose her, whatever it is. I mean, on some level, I think it was Diamond or the other dude, or maybe not Diamond, the other dude that was going back to selling drugs. That dude saw that flyer of Autumn with her real name on there, and he was like, "What the hell?" We saw that like at the last scene. I think it was the last episode. And so when it comes out that she's not who she is, I don't think that's going to be a surprise for Mercedes, because Mercedes knows that she's out there pulling a scam and hustling and doing something. And so, and she's helping her keep her money up and get right. So I think she's just not really going to care about that. And I think what we're going to see is that Mercedes is going to become Autumn's ally. I mean, Uncle Clifford, he already knows something that's real. He knows something's up because he knows her ID is fake. So I think the people that matter most already know that she's not who she is. It's just going to be really the reveal of who is she. So,
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, they're building it up as if that's going to be the last night of Club Pynk. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we clearly know that that's not going to be the last night of Club Pynk. It just can't. They've been renewed for a new season, and they're already talking about a 3rd season. So what I want to know is, who is going to bail out Uncle Clifford? Is it going to be Autumn Night and Mercedes? Is it going to be Corbin? Because they haven't showed Corbin in the last episode, but we know Corbin. Well, they did show him, but they showed him in a light where he basically got punked by his brothers.
Yeah, they haven't really showed him. And what we do know is that even though he got punked by his brothers, it doesn't really matter because what's his name went in and changed the paperwork from a
Right.
sale to a lease. So it doesn't even
Andre.
matter that he got punked. In fact, the fact that he was able to get all those signatures on there when they forced it to be like a, when he got all those signatures, making it thinking that it was actually a sale, it actually helped Corbin in the long run because his brothers were never going to sign those documents for a lease. And now all those signatures are on there. So, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. I think that it's probably going to be Autumn and Mercedes that end up coming to the rescue for Uncle Clifford. And the reason why I think that is that writers like to bookend stuff. And because Uncle Clifford sort of came to the rescue of Autumn when she first got there, she didn't have anything, she didn't even have an ID. She's up there and was able to dance and make money. And so I think that, now that he needs some help, I think it's going to be bookended where she's going to be the one coming to his rescue. So, but we'll see.
And we cannot forget the storyline of my homegirl, the Mississippi, now done linked up with Little Murder to promote her social media and his music. How is Uncle Clifford going to respond to that? I think he's going to respond just fine to it. And it could be that somehow they save Pynk. And then we've also got to consider exactly what is it about Autumn Knight's husband? Who is he? What is he going to bring to the table? What is going to be his crazy past? How is it going to tie into where Autumn Night is now? And I'm with Larry. Autumn Night has a new family in Mercedes, and that family bond began when they was in there talking about their children. That's when that bond started. That's when it kind of went from okay, bitch, to okay, you my sister. So I'm looking forward to this Sunday to seeing it and see where they're going to take us. And just see if we're getting some of these predictions correct. And we cannot forget about that pink gun that is in Autumn Night's locker that she told Mississippi, hey, if you need to, go in there and get it. And now if y'all think that they just going to let Mississippi baby daddy go out without a fight, you can forget it. You can just forget that. And we're also going to have an angry mayor on our hands. He's going to be angry with Uncle Clifford, and he's going to also be angry with his secretary who went and ran her mouth about everything going on to Uncle Clifford. So this might be an episode with a whole lot of fireworks, Larry.
I'm curious to see how Diamond might play into all this because we know Diamond has some feelings for Mississippi, and now that she's blown up like she is, and now she's hanging out with with Little Murder doing that whole promotion thing that they're doing. I wonder if she's going to tell Diamond that it's not real, if Diamond knows that Little Murder and Uncle Clifford have their thing going on, so he's not really worried about those two, or if he's just gonna feel some sort of way and just sort of leave Mississippi alone, and then when she needs him, he's not really gonna be there because he's gonna have disconnected. He's gonna, she's gonna have to be on her own. So I'm curious to see how that relationship's gonna play out.
We'll see. Something in me, Ted, says that Diamond might get killed. I hope not, but I just got this feeling somebody's got to take the tragic loss this season, my friend Larry. Somebody has got to take the tragic hit, and it's just a matter of who is it going to be. It could be, I don't think it's going to be Autumn Knight's husband. So it's either going to be Diamond or it's going to be Mississippi's husband and baby daddy.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Mississippi's baby daddy, and I also wouldn't be surprised if it's Uncle Clifford's partner, the dude that's hustling and selling drugs again, because people don't like drug dealers. People, it's easy to like a bad guy, so once he gets back into doing the bad business, it's easy to say, okay, well, he got what he deserved because he was out there selling drugs and now he's dead. So I can see that happening, but we'll see which way it goes. It's going to be a fun ride either way, I think.
Yes. And so, ladies and gentlemen, having said that, we will be dropping reviews, and we'll have Pay or Wait Sharonda back up here Monday to discuss this show along with Lovecraft Country on Monday. You don't want to miss that live stream. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get to the real deal. Oh, yeah. Chris want to know who's your favorite. He's asking you to do the Mississippi chant. He wants
I can't
it,
do
baby.
it. I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I love my crooked letter. I'm just not in that headspace today. But I love me some crooked letter, humpback. You know.
Yeah, we do love her, but ladies and gentlemen, we've got some serious issues in this country we got to discuss. We reserve Friday for our politics and anything dealing with the community. Now, sometimes things bring us out because y'all seen us go in Wednesday, all right? And Friday we designate as the night where we're going to talk about politics and how they streamline down to your community. So everybody is familiar with what happened with Jacob Blake. All this information is coming out. Now the police is trying to say he had a knife the whole time. The witness who filmed the whole thing said he never seen the knife. The witness who filmed the whole thing said he never seen Jacob put the police in a headlock, which the police union is trying to say happened because they're trying to cover their ass. But what's very infuriating to us, I mean, when I say infuriating, what's a slap in the face to black people, and it should be a slap in the face to white people because your people got killed, is this punk ass little boy that's 17 years old, whose mom drives his ass from Illinois to Kenosha with an assault rifle that, mind you, he's got illegally because he's 17. You have to be 18 to carry that type of weapon. Take a look at this story, and then we're going to follow up and break down to you guys just how white privilege is still prevalent in this country.
A 17-year-old faces felony homicide charges for shooting 3 people during Tuesday night's protest in Kenosha.
And charging documents paint a new picture of the moments that led up to the gunfire that killed 2 people and even injured a 3rd.
Tony Atkins has been sifting through the details for us. He joins us live tonight with what he's learned from Kenosha. Tony?
That's right, Stephen. Shannon, I was just a few blocks away from that shooting scene when it happened the other night. We actually stood feet away from the suspect moments before those shots were fired. And today we finally get a closer look at what happened during that shooting. This video, according to court documents, shows the first of Kyle Rittenhouse's 2 deadly shootings late Tuesday night. Those documents say Rittenhouse was walking with 2 men, one of them a journalist who witnessed the shootings. The first happened around 11:45 Tuesday night. Rittenhouse was approached by Joseph Rosenbaum, the first victim. The complaint says Rosenbaum threw a plastic bag at Rittenhouse and then moved closer to him. That's when police say Rittenhouse fired 4 shots, killing Rosenbaum. The complaint says Rittenhouse then made a phone call and said, quote, "I just killed somebody." The witness told police that Rittenhouse took off and then protesters followed. This cell phone video shows protesters trying to get the assault rifle from Rittenhouse. Next, he's knocked to the ground and fires the gun toward the protesters. Anthony Huber was killed while reaching for the weapon, and another man was shot in the arm. Rittenhouse eventually got up and walked away. And for those crimes, Rittenhouse faces 6 charges, 5 of them felonies. The most serious is homicide with the intent to kill. Tonight, you can see a group of protesters gathered, a very small group here tonight. It's been very peaceful.
Larry, let me try to ascertain what's going on here, okay? All right. We have a black guy who's unarmed. The knife that they're talking about was in his truck, okay? They tased him. They said they had him in a headlock. It's 4 cops. You got him by the shirt as he's walking to his car. He opens the door while you dragging him by the shirt, and you shoot his ass 7 times, okay? Then we got fake ass Rambo, who first of all has a gun that's illegal. He's come from another city. Supposedly he's trying to protect property when I always thought that human life was more precious than property, all right? They're trying to say he was attacked. If you're out on the street and someone is brandishing a gun at you, telling you to do something, then they turn around, what the hell are you going to do? You're going to beat his ass, try to take the gun from him. But I digress. The issue here is he walks past 3 police trucks with that big ass gun They do nothing. Jacob Blake is trying to walk back to his car with one cop holding him, opens the door. He gets shot 7 times. One of his kids gets in an accident while he's sitting in the truck. But this young man, this fake ass Rambo, walks past 4 cops, walks to a police officer with his hands up, sticks his head in the window. They let his ass go back home, grab a damn sandwich, and do nothing. If Jacob Blake got 7 bullets, this fucker should have got 5 to the eye, 3 to the feet, and 1 to the penis, and it should have been a wrap. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a classic case of white privilege. And to further add salt to the wound, all these people who don't want to tell you they're racist, but they are supporting this kid. Political people are supporting this kid. Right-wing activists are supporting this kid, calling the fucker a hero, saying he was trying to protect himself. They even started a damn GoFundMe for this kid and went and got him one of the top conservative lawyers in all of America to try to say he was defending himself. And I've already said, if y'all see someone running around with a gun in a protest and he waves it in your face, tells you whatever the hell he tells you, and then tries to turn around, I'm going to hit him in the back of the head, take the gun, and turn it into the police too. I don't want to hear this shit. Larry, I give it to you. But ladies and gentlemen, if you don't see how that's white privilege, take the blinders off because you don't want to see it.
I can't say the things I want to say because they're probably illegal. I can't say the things I want to say because they'll probably get you in trouble on your channel. You know,
man,
but
say what you got to say.
But the fact of the matter is that there was an active shooter situation. The police were called because there was an active shooter situation in the same town where they murdered a black man or tried to murder him, shot him 7 times in the back because they thought that he was a threat with a T-shirt in his hand. They're responding to an active shooter situation where one person had already been killed, and this white man is white boy, man, whatever. I'm gonna call him a man because when you have 12-year-old black kids that do something wrong, they get prosecuted and tried and convicted as adults. So I'm gonna call him a man. This white man had an assault rifle
that he's not supposed to have.
2 people. He just killed 2 people and was walking towards the police. And the police did not see him as a threat enough to even stop him and question him. They arrested this man back in Illinois, back at home. He went back home and was arrested in Illinois. The officers in Kenosha did not even arrest him. That's how insidious white supremacy and white privilege is. They want them to feel free to murder us, and not just us, the allies that support us. Right. They hate you too. They hate white people who support us too. They hate white people that support equality. They will kill you just like they will kill us.
Which is why more of y'all need to get with the picture and understand that this equality is not just a Black Lives thing. It's all of us. But the focus, the feature, the center point is Black lives. And if this doesn't wake you up, I don't know what the hell is going to wake you up. But my bad, Larry.
I no longer have good wishes for the I no longer am thinking, I hope we can do this peacefully. I don't care how it gets done. Those people need to be discarded. They are not American patriots. They are garbage, trash human beings.
Trash.
These are people running around talking about the Civil War is not over, that there's a new Confederate. These are people talking about they're going to start a new war and they're trying to start race wars. Well, guess what? They must have forgot. They tried that already. And when the good people finally decided we have to pick up arms, We defeated them. And if we have to go back to war with them again, I am going to be the first one out there advocating, no, we do not need to reunify this country in the same way we did before the Civil War. We need to eliminate those people. They will have two choices. They can leave this country or they can be executed, because we can see what has happened when we let those Confederates stay and try and reintegrate them into society. What has happened? We've had 200 years of just, or 150 years, whatever the time frame is, of nothing but discord, of just negative, violent, angry discord in this country. Our country has never healed from the Civil War, and the only way to heal from it is to discard the losers. They have to go. They have to go. They need to leave this country or they have to die. One of the two. And that is the way that civil wars work. I'm not advocating for this. I'm saying that if they want a civil war and they start a civil war and they again lose a civil war, that is the way it needs to happen. There can't be any, oh, this is going to be the new Confederate. No, because there will be no people left on your side. They will either be out of the country someplace else that will take them, or they will be dead. Done. That's it. And then we can move on with a country that is built on a foundation of peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to stomp this shit out. And we've got to stop allowing them to couch it in my amendment rights and all this bullshit that they hide behind to cover up what they really want, which is they want black people to stay on the bottom. They don't want to give up that privilege. And furthermore, for this white kid to have this gun, who he probably got it from his parents, the damn parents need to be in jail too. They drove his ass over there, helped him get this gun. Then he was allowed to go all the way back to Illinois. You got to get the parents. I mean, has got to be a message. That whole Kenosha Police Department, even the damn sheriff, was coming out here trying to sound like Trump, talking about both sides. I mean, he sounded real effed up. They all got to be washed out. They got to be washed out.
He should be. He crossed his mother and him crossed federal lines. They crossed state lines so that he can go commit murder. He crossed state lines to go commit a crime. That is a federal offense. Murder is a state capital crime, but when you cross a state line, it also becomes a federal offense. And unfortunately, because as we know, as we saw in Kenosha, they're not even going to bother to arrest him. We know that there's not going to be any justice served there. And we see what happens with Barr and the current Justice Department under Trump. We know that the feds are not going to go after him. There's no justice that's going to be served there. If we want justice, we're going to have to deliver it ourselves. And I understand that is a terrible proposition to have to deal with, but that is what we are currently facing. That is where we're at in this country now. If we want justice, we are going to have to deliver it ourselves. I don't know what that looks like. I'm not advocating something that is going to cause other people to get killed. But if we want justice for the crimes against us, we are going to have to go out there and we are going to have to deliver that justice ourselves, because the feds and the local judicial systems are not going to they're not going to deliver that for us.
One step you all can take that are watching, I don't have to tell you guys that are watching this, make sure you go vote. Vote for what you see on my man Larry's hat. And hopefully, I don't even want to think about this right now, but I thought about it and I was talking to my wife about it, because life is a little different for me. I have a child now. I have to explain to a little girl this white privilege shit, why the black people keep getting killed. I have to explain this to a child. This is a conversation whites don't have to have with their little boys. And we was talking, and the notion came to me, what happens if the cops that shot up Jacob Blake go off scot-free, and this boy basically gets a slap on the wrist, probation? All hell needs to break loose, because this has got to stop. There has got to be a digging in of the sand, a digging in of the hills, and resistance has got to be put forward, because we've been trying to do this the Martin Luther King way for years. And the only time these people respond is when you tear up their possessions. That's the only time they respond. And you heard it here on this channel back in March from my man Larry. People was peacefully protesting. out in the street. Oh, we seen NFL owners, we seen NBA owners all locked in arms, and oh, we believe what Kaepernick was saying now, all because they wanted us to shut the hell up and go away, which is what black folks has had to be doing since Civil War. But now it's time to dig your heels in, vote the Trump nation out of office. As a matter of fact, don't just vote them out of office, defeat them so badly it's humiliating. And then we got to hold them to the fire as well and hope that we get some justice on this. Now, Larry, I'm going to pivot us to the catalyst. He's not what started it, but he's the catalyst that has gotten individuals so emboldened that they think they can do this shit. I'm talking about Trump and that fucking clown show that we had this week called the RNC with him being the ringleader. I want you to take a look at the things he had to say. Yes. Well, before we even get into that, we was talking about how this Kyle Rittenberg got white privilege. Let me show you guys another video that me and Larry react to of white privilege. Then we'll talk about Trump. Take a look at this BS.
Don't raise your voice at me. Don't raise. No, you can't. No, you can't raise your voice to me. Don't do it, buddy. Don't video it till we think it. Don't do it, buddy. What you gonna do? Hey, buddy. Get the fuck off of me. Get the. You want to throw some punches, buddy? You ready? You want to throw punches? You just want to man up? Put that gun down. Put it down, bitch. No. Get off of me. I ain't did nothing wrong. Leave me alone. What are you doing? Get away from me. I haven't done anything wrong. You attacked me.
You're under arrest.
For what?
You're under arrest.
For what? No.
Disorderly conduct.
No, I'm not under arrest for disorderly conduct.
You're under arrest now for resisting.
You are a real piece of work, buddy. I didn't do anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's white privilege at its finest. We have seen double-digit black dudes do less than what this punk ass just did. The cop, first of all, got his ass beat technically. He tried to bring the man down. The man got out of it and could have really hurt him if he wanted to, but he didn't, right? Then he's still fairly patient with him. The guy's walking away. He's reaching for his arm like he's a damn girl. You're under arrest. Ladies and gentlemen, a black guy would have been dead before it got to the grass. Larry, I give it to you.
I'm going to say this, that Donald Trump and the Republicans are going to try and use every protest that we have as a way of trying to say, look, there's violence in the streets. This is what you can expect from Joe Biden. The Republican people who vote for Trump and a lot of these older people that are out there that are going to support him, that are going to be scared towards Donald Trump, they're too stupid. They're too uneducated. They don't have the ability to think through stuff to realize that the things that they're trying to say that are going to happen if there's a Biden administration is actually happening now under a Trump administration.
Yep.
And so what I will say is this, and I hate to say this, what I honestly believe we should do is have a moratorium on protesting from now until the day after the election. And what black people and allies and brown people, what we should all do between now and then is buy as many guns as we can afford. Buy handguns, shotguns, assault rifles, ammo. We should buy as much as we can afford, and we should plan and we should strategize, because I can tell you this, if Donald Trump wins, he is going to be unleashed. The people that are out there, these Boogaloo boys, all these little white nationalist militia groups, they are going to feel entitled. They're going to feel emboldened. They are going to be unleashed. It is going to be a dangerous place in this country.
Well, not only that, Larry, not only that, if he loses in the lame duck session.
That's the other point. If he loses, it's going to be the same thing. I believe there is going to be a very, very violent reckoning in this country after the election, regardless of who wins and who loses. And as black people, we need to be prepared. Either you need to do one of a few things, one of a couple of things. One, you need to make sure that you are armed and are prepared to defend yourself, or you need to make sure that you have your passport up to date so that you can leave this country. And that is what I think we need to do. I think we need to still try and get Joe Biden elected. We need to protect ourselves. If we can protest peacefully without burning down stuff, great. But if we can't do it, and I'm not out in those streets protesting, because I can tell you right now, I am not in the headspace to go out there and want to go protest peacefully. I don't want to do that. I don't want to protest peacefully. So I'm trying to stay away.
Now, look, Trisha C brings up a great point. Because America is the hotbed for corona, it ain't like we can migrate to anywhere else right now.
Well, there are places that are accepting us. There are places that are opening their borders back up. And I'll tell you right now, if I go to a place and they try and tell me I can't come in because of coronavirus, then I'm going to apply for political asylum.
You better have you some good secrets on Trump, punk ass.
I don't need secrets on Trump. I can apply for asylum. I'm just going to tell them, look, I'm a black man in America. Turn on CNN and you can see why I need asylum.
Right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to say goodbye to Bam Perez. He's not a fan of this channel anymore because of what we're talking about. Oh, well, good. I guess he's not a fan of equality.
Do me a favor. Just go somewhere, find a really big rock and walk into a body of water and just stay there. That's what you can do. Exactly. That's what you can do. You have no use for anybody on this planet. You are a useless human being if you cannot stand on the side of justice, on the side of righteousness. If you are not an American patriot who stands with good law-abiding citizens, then be out. Discard yourself. We don't want you.
Don't need them. And this is for my big homie, Buzz. I ain't forget about you. And I actually got something else. Shouting out to Buzz because he gave me that excellent super chat. This is to get you a laugh.
I'd like to give a big round of applause to my band, Sexual Chocolate. I believe the children are our future. Thank you. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Love of all inside of me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sexy chocolate.
Damn, that boy can sing. You must be crazy. He good. You must be crazy.
Buzz, that's for you, my man. That's for you. I appreciate the super chat. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on. We're going to keep this political debate going. We're going to talk about the crazy things President Trump said at the RNC, the hypocritical things that were said, the lies.
I'm sorry, Lamar. I'm going to stop just for a second. I just want to point out that this Bam Perez person is upset, and they're all butthurt over talking about that we're talking about killing people. No, what we're talking about is defending ourselves. And if you're more upset about us talking about defending ourselves than you are about those white nationalists out there actually killing people. The white nationalists that are out there that are civilians that are killing us. The white nationalists that are doing it under the cover of law wearing a badge. If you're more concerned about us and our conversations and us talking and expressing our frustrations and us telling other black and brown people and our allies to defend ourselves and to protect ourselves, if you're more upset about that than you are about them actually doing the killing, I want to say you are a piece of human garbage. You should leave. You should log out. Lamont, block him. Get rid of him. I don't even want to see him in the comments anymore. If you are more upset about people actually talking instead of people doing the killing, be upset with them. They're actually murdering people. They're taking actual lives. We're talking about stopping it. And you're upset with that? What kind of fucked up human being are you?
Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of my homeboy, my road dog, I will block him. But normally, stuff like that doesn't bother me because I know where they're coming from. I know what they're all about. And when you see people like that, you just dismiss them. They ain't worth 3 cents. Don't even try to don't even try to talk with them. They're telling you where they're coming from. That's the kind of person you don't want to deal with because they're only looking at it from their own lens. That's white privilege. And I don't care if he's black or white. It's privilege. It's a problem. You're not for equality for everyone if, like Larry said, the only point you're making is people trying to defend themselves. And where was your ass at when black people been dying for 200 years? Where was you at when this man on my shirt said, I can't breathe? Was you discussing him dying? And I'll leave it at that. Moving right along, we're going to talk about President Trump and his lies. Take a look at this. Try not to get upset, and we'll break down what we've got to do to not only win the presidency, but the down ballot, ladies and gentlemen, is just as important.
No one will be safe in Biden's America.
A defiant U.S. President Donald Trump accepted the nomination for a second term at the final night of the Republican National Convention on Thursday, railing against, quote, mob rule.
We can never allow mob rule.
Cancel culture.
The goal of cancel culture is to make decent Americans live in fear of being fired.
And what he termed the radical left. Trump spoke for over an hour before a crowded and mostly maskless audience of over 1,000 people on the White House lawn. He has faced criticism for using the presidential residence as a political prop.
Joe Biden's plan is not a solution to the virus, but rather it's a surrender to the virus.
Trump spent most of the evening taking shots at opponent Joe Biden, attempting to distort the Democrats' policy positions on a host of issues, especially the health crisis and the economy.
Joe Biden is not a savior of America's soul. He is the destroyer of America's jobs, and if given the chance, he will be the destroyer of American greatness.
Also touting his law and order response to widening anti-racism and police brutality protests across the country, Trump called Biden a, quote, Trojan horse for socialism, and repeated the Republican talking point that Biden would defund the police. Biden has so far rejected that position.
Joe Biden is weak. He takes his marching orders from liberal hypocrites who drive their cities into the ground while fleeing far from the scene of the wreckage.
The night came to an end as fireworks lit up the sky, giving Trump a powerful image with which to close the convention. But not far from the White House, anti-Trump protesters chanted Black Lives Matter on the streets of the nation's capital, sounding horns which could be heard from the lawn where Trump delivered his speech, serving as a reminder that the country's divisions still run deep.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, me being the scholar and the well-versed individual I am, I tend to go and listen to what the Republicans say on their media platforms. And it's easy to debate them, especially with Trump, because nobody debates in facts nowadays. They used to try to debate by using big words that they think you might not know the meaning to, tie it up in patriotism, tie it up in nationalism, say a whole bunch of nothing that means nothing to try to get you not to debate them. These fuckers are just showing how red their necks is now. They don't know shit. To say that Biden is going to make us lay down for COVID is dumb. We wouldn't have the issues we're having right now where schools can't open, kids can't go back to school, people are losing their jobs. We've got 30-some million people unemployed. Had the virus been locked down and under control from the very beginning when it happened in March. You see this man having a rally, and if you follow me on Facebook, you know I put a quote up on my Facebook page. I said, the difference between a religion and a cult. In a religion, the leader would die for his congregation. In a cult, the leader wants the congregation to die for him. And ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing is a cult. And having said that, I'll give it to Larry for the rest of this rebuttal of what's going on with the RNC and this nation and how we can defeat Trump.
I mean, this whole thing was a 4-day federally funded white nationalist hate rally. That's all that it was.
Not to mention, it is supposed to be illegal, the Hatch Act. But guess who's supposed to enforce that? If you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, you're not supposed to be doing any campaign rallies on federal property, the White House, none of that. and it violates the Hatch Act. But guess who's supposed to enforce that? The White House. I mean, the president is supposed to enforce it, and the SOSJ is supposed to enforce it, which is the special counsel to the president. And of course, they ain't enforcing shit. So you talk about somebody being lawless. Nobody's been more lawless than President Trump. You talk about someone not following the rules. Nobody has done it. Who has an administration that has? Trump has had 8 people indicted criminally. No administration in history has had that many people indicted. Just want to throw that in there for context, Larry. My bad for cutting you off.
No, I mean, this I mean, the people think that. I mean, I'm done trying to explain whatever there is to explain. There's nothing to explain. That the Republicans have ceded all of their moral credibility, if they had any of it, to Donald Trump and that wing of the party. The fact that they're willing to throw themselves in with that lot, there's nothing left of them. There is nothing left of them. They have decided that it is more important for them to try and maintain this white supremacist, this white supremacist system than it is to be a good American. They have no interest in doing anything that's good for America if it means that they have to give up their sense of white privilege and white power and white supremacy. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have Barack Obama, our first black president, our only black president, our only president that is not a white male, mm-hmm. created a pandemic response team and a plan that would have prevented 180,000 Americans from dying. It would have prevented the 5 million plus infections from COVID from happening. And Donald Trump got rid of it because it was created from the administration of a black man. And so here we are with people dying by the tens of thousands. He is not a patriot. He does not love America. The people that support him are not patriots. Exactly. They do not love America. Mm-hmm. What they love is the Republican Party that supports white supremacy. That's all there is to it. And that needs to be eradicated.
Yeah, and keeping their position of power.
Whether you can eradicate the attitude and try and purify the party and get rid of that element, maybe that can happen. But if not, it still needs to be eradicated. Period. You cannot function. As they say, a house divided cannot stand. We cannot stand when you have people within this country that fundamentally hate the American people. And as much as people want to, much as the Republicans and other white people out there that want to claim their independence, but then go vote for whatever white supremacist person they can, the fact of the matter is the majority of people in this country are not white males. You may want to believe that. You may have the majority of people in Congress. You may have the majority of people on the bench. You may have the majority of people that are wealthy, but you are not the majority. And that is the truth of the matter. And if you do not want to do what's best for the majority of this country, then you are not a patriotic American. You are something else. You are something else. You are not a patriot. And you can't claim to be one. And the fact of the matter is, I'll be perfectly honest with you. If with the state of race relations right now, if I was some other country, if I was China or someone else, I would decide this is the perfect time to go ahead and attack. Because I can tell you right now, if with just the white males in this country, there are not enough of you to defend this country. You need people like me. You need the brown folks that are over there, that all these Hispanics that have come to this country for generations, that live here, some that aren't even citizens that are serving in our nation's military because they want to become citizens. All those people, if they simply decide, I'm not going to fight for the Donald Trump and the Republicans, guess what? There's not enough people in this country to defend this nation. There's not enough white males to defend this nation. You need us. And if you don't understand that, if you don't understand how vulnerable we are as a nation when we are divided, I don't know what world you're living in. Now, I just don't understand what world you're living in.
To me, this could all be Putin's plan from jump. This could have been his plan. He figured out that we as a nation, we've got so many idiots that love this white supremacy racist thing. He figured out who he could really get enraged and engaged, and he went after him. He went after him. And I feel like, ladies and gentlemen, a blueprint has been put in place to show others how you defeat this country. First of all, a virus hits us, and then you divide them. And you put a leader in the White House who's not trying to bring us together, but separate us. And here's another slap in the face from that whole entire RNC. Last night, they said they had about 2,000 people on that lawn. The majority of those people were sitting right beside each other, yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs with no damn mask on. Now, that's a slap in the face to everybody else out here who's wearing a mask, staying home, doing all the COVID procedures we need to do to get this thing to go away as quickly as possible. But those are the same people that get out here and tell you they believe in God, they believe in all the scriptures and stuff that come with the Bible. They're American patriots and they love their country. All while they're sitting there lying to you directly in your damn face. And it makes no sense.
Let me just say a couple of things. First of all, to all you Republicans, all you conservatives out there, all you right-wing evangelicals and everything else out there, I just want to let you know one thing. You're worshiping a black man because Jesus was black. God is black. He was African. Read the Bible, read the description. You will understand that Jesus was black and Christianity is an African religion, as is Judaism, as is Islam. And so all those out there that are running around with your white Jesus on the wall, Jesus is not white. Never has been, never will be. Jesus is black. And Christianity is an African religion. So just understand that. Now, generally, I wish everyone well. When I see these rallies and I think to myself, God, I hope these people are okay, and there's no super spreaders out there. In fact, I'm not wishing well for that anymore. I'm not wishing people well anymore. If you want to go out there and you want to be a dumbass that takes everyone else's life for granted and go to this place and not wear a mask and then go about your daily life again, spreading that stuff everywhere. If you get sick and die, I have absolutely nothing but indifference. I'm not wishing good. I'm not wishing ill. I'm just wholly indifferent. Your life at this point means nothing to me either way, because you have shown to me that your life means nothing to you. And so why should I care more about your life than you care about your own?
Well, the only way these people are going to change their mind, like, they've got to pay. They've got to have a punishment. I mean, I sit in here, me and my wife talk about how just like it's not right that you're trying to cover this thing in, oh, it's my liberty, but your liberty causes other people to die. And if they don't feel the pain, it's never going to change for them. This could be over 20 years from now. We have the same thing happen. They're going to be sitting out here saying, it's my liberty. I don't want socialism. Like dumbasses, man. So, I mean, and ladies and gentlemen, normally we try to wish the best, but at the same time, when these people don't wear a mask, they're not wishing the best for you. And it's pitiful that people who are doing the right things have to suffer and they don't. So I'm not wishing nothing nice on these individuals. You got to feel the pain. Then maybe you'll change your damn tune. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on. We're going to move on to financing.
Let me just say one last thing about this too.
Okay.
Is that people sit up there and I was watching the news, and some of the news reporters were talking about how they had spoke to some senior officials, senior advisors with the Trump administration, and they were saying, oh, it's no big deal. Everybody's going to get this thing anyway. Well, here's the thing. That's not true. Everybody doesn't have to get this thing.
No.
But the other point is that people should realize, even those people out there who get this thing and they think, oh, I'm okay, I got it. I only had like a little mild flu symptoms for a few days and I got over it. Oh, I got it. But, I was asymptomatic. Guess what? That disease is in your system working, ravaging your system, causing all kinds of problems that you simply don't realize today. There are people that have had COVID, were asymptomatic, and the next thing you know, they're dropping dead of a heart attack when they've never had any history of heart conditions or heart disease in their family.
And these was young people he's talking about, athletes.
These are people that have gotten this, and then all of a sudden now they can't breathe and they have to be on oxygen for the rest of their life. They're 25, 35 years old, and they have to carry around an oxygen tank forever. There's people that have gotten this and they thought they were fine, and the next thing you know, their liver fails, and now they have to be on dialysis, and they're waiting on a list to try and get a liver transplant. There are all kinds of side effects of this disease, and they're catastrophic. This is not something that you just say, oh, all right, cool, I got the flu and now I'm better. No, this is something that is eating you from the inside out, causing all kinds of organ damage that they haven't fully even begun to understand yet. Mm-hmm. All they know is that there are people. There was a gentleman in I think he was in Turkey or something. He used to play pro ball here in the U.S. He went over there to play pro ball. He got COVID. He tested positive. He felt fine. He had to go through his regular couple of tests. He did. He came out clear, went back to practice, boom, fell down dead, had a heart attack on the court. And there have been numerous people out there that have had that same thing. There's a guy that played D1 football here. Gets young. He's like 20 years old. Said he had to take the season off because he's having medical conditions, medical issues as a side effect of having COVID. He wasn't even sick. He had it, was asymptomatic. And now he's having all kinds of other issues. This is not something to play with. You can run around thinking, oh, I'm fine. And then you realize we're going to have a whole generation of sick people. Mm-hmm. We won't even be able to what are you going to do when you're up there trying to, I'm looking at all these kids running around not wearing face masks out there playing. Their parents let them go out and ride their bikes and play with their friends and have parties just like it's any other summer day. Well, guess what? What are we going to happen when we need to actually have a military in the next 5 years and we can't? Because all these COVID kids all have heart diseases. They all have heart disease. Their valves are jacked up, or their heart muscles are weakened, or they have kidney disease, or any other ailment that comes from this. What are you going to do then? It's crazy. It's like people cannot just for a moment think 2 steps ahead. Hell, 1 step ahead. They have to it's like they can only think in that moment. It's like they are some sort of just ridiculous just some ridiculous overspoiled child who only understands what is right now in this moment and can't even begin to think about what happens if I eat these 200 pieces of candy. They can't think about that. Then they eat it and get sick. Just think about what can happen if you go out there and try and do something today that can kill you tomorrow. Maybe it doesn't kill you. And I can tell you for a lot of people, dying would be a release. When you are stuck if you've been someone who's been active your whole life and now all of a sudden you're tethered to an oxygen tank, if you've been a runner or somebody who played basketball or you were into cycling or skating, whatever, and all of a sudden now your doctor's like, yeah, sorry, you can't get your heart rate up over 120 because your heart might just explode. So you can't do that anymore. Those are some of the consequences we're looking at with COVID. It's not something to play with. No, these people out there not wearing masks. I think it's jacked up because I'm trying to do my best to protect people in case I have something. I want everybody to wear a mask. I do mask reviews. I try and do what I can to promote people wearing masks. But if you don't want to wear a mask and you get sick, I'm not thinking anything about it. I'm not thinking anything. I have nothing but absolute and complete indifference towards you.
Yeah, right with you. And we'll end it right there, ladies and gentlemen, because everybody that's watching us know what the real deal is, doing what they need to do to get things going. Just make sure that you vote, and not only vote down ballot, because I need to see that bitch ass Mitch McConnell going too, because he's just as evil as Trump. Having said that, we're going to move on to stocks. I sent Larry a list of some great stocks that I think are going to be the next 10 years FANG stocks. Y'all don't know what FANGs is. I'm talking about the Facebook, the Apple, the Amazon, that group of tech stocks that have made people 10 times what they invested into it couple of years ago. There's some more on the horizon that integrate with those type of stocks. Take a look at this and then we'll break it down and go through what I think you guys should be doing in your portfolios.
First up is $3.1 billion Pluralsight, ticker PS, an AI-driven skills development platform that touches a lot of the developing trends. The company runs a skills development platform for online courses in the tech area, subjects like cloud, security, and data, everything a business needs. And the beauty of this is that proprietary machine learning assessment tool that helps businesses know which skills their employees need to work on. So when we talk about those themes and the industries to follow, you're going to see a lot of the Pluralsight in here. We've got an algorithmic-based functionality. We've also got online skills development, which is obviously hugely important right now, and an addressable market that gives the company a runway for growth for decades of growth. Pluralsight booked $317 million in revenue last year, an increase of 35% over the prior year, which in turn was 39% growth over the year before that. Now that's still just a fraction of the $42 billion market for the business technical skills development and the $300 billion plus for global e-learning market. Giving me even more confidence in this company is the fact that growth in the large customer segment has increased. Pluralsight has grown customer accounts in the million-plus billing segment 122% over the last 3 years. The company has a solid balance sheet with over $406 million in cash against $567 million in debt, so that financial survivability that we like to see, and very nearly cash flow positive. Next here is $2.3 billion Stitch Fix, ticker SFIX, and more of that consumer retail idea, but with a disruptor twist. Stitch Fix is an online fashion service that touches a lot of those disruptor ideas that we'll talk about. It's an online retail service, which we know is bringing in billions of dollars from that traditional brick and mortar model every single year. The company estimates the online apparel market at over $111 billion in the US and the UK alone, and that's just a quarter of the total market. Online sales are expected to grow by 13% a year to over $200 billion by 2024. Stitch Fix isn't a retailer though. It's using a data-driven algorithm and that human intuition to help match people with their perfect look. Customers create a profile that assesses their preferences and then matches them with a stylist. Then it powers those retail services and delivers the product. The company booked 18% client growth last year and 2 consecutive years of 25% plus revenue growth. So not only are you growing the client base, but making more money per client. The company reported a 9% increase in active clients to $3.4 million in that March through May quarter. CRISPR Therapeutics, ticker CRSP, is a $7 billion gene editing company that, as an old man, I'm definitely interested in seeing what they can do. Nation, in the 100 years to 1900, the average life expectancy in America barely budged, adding less than 10 years onto the average person's lifespan. In the 100 years to 2000, it almost doubled to 80 years old. We have seen the power of biotech in not just prolonging life, but the quality of life, and we want more. CRISPR uses patented technology enabling directed changes to genomic DNA, technology that could someday allow us to remove the parts of our genes causing cancer, diabetes, or even turning back the clock. The company has a strong pipeline, including collaborations and wholly owned techniques, 5 of which are just one step from being marketed products. This is moonshot stuff, and CRISPR is the leader in the space. Now, there isn't much there for revenue or earnings, as you'd expect from an early stage biotech, but the company has $945 million in balance sheet cash and just $50 million in debt, so a pristine balance sheet and all the cash it needs to get some of that research through to sales. Those of you in the Bowtie Nation are going to recognize this one, $9 billion Fastly, ticker FSLY. I first recommended Fastly back in November and then again in March when it hit $11 a share. It surged to $109 per share before giving up about 30% after it disclosed that TikTok as its biggest customer for about 12% of revenue. This is an opportunity to pick up more shares, even after that 800% return that we've booked since March. Fastly operates a cloud platform for content delivery, which is just a fancy way of saying it helps websites and the internet to you faster. It also provides streaming and video services, which puts it right in the middle of the biggest themes in the internet and media, and a $35 billion market opportunity from its 2 segments. And while that quarterly earnings report sent the shares lower, there was still a lot to like here. The company swung to a net profit, which is always great proof of the business. Revenue jumped 62% from the prior year to $75 million, and it's expected to match that in the third quarter. Analysts are expecting full-year revenue around $297 million this year and to double to $614 million by 2023. The company's revenue retention rate is an amazing 99.3%, and not only are customers sticking around, they're also spending more with 133% growth in that expansion rate in the first quarter.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I will make this a standalone video so that you don't got to go back through this video and dig for an hour. But one of those companies, I'm kicking myself in the shin because me and Larry mentioned Fastly in March. And instead of buying them, I bought CrowdStrike, which has done well, but it just didn't do as good as Fastly. So, guys, that's a good list of companies you should be throwing some money at right now to just sit on for the next 10 years. And for those of you following me during my options, I got stuck with Best Buy this week. I did my put option at 116, and the price ended up 111.23. So now I was forced to buy the 100 shares, which is fine. I'm going to put those shares up for sale on Monday, higher than what I paid for them, and just wait and collect the premium week to week until the market goes back to that price or they have a spike. Simple as that, ladies and gentlemen. Larry, what have been your moves this week, and what did you think about that list?
Yeah, the list looks good. As far as my moves, I haven't really done a whole lot this week. I plan on selling off some stuff. I did buy into what is that, to Pynk.
Okay.
It's a Chinese EV car company that went public this week, so I bought a little bit of them.
I did too. I got some of them too.
I'm going to sit on them for a little while and see what they do. I'm probably going to sell off some of my I have some stuff I have a couple of things that are winners that aren't moving as much as I'd like them to. There are some things that are losers that I was hoping would move, and they're just not moving. If I sat on them over a long period of time, they probably would. But I think I'm going to probably dump those on Monday. I probably should have dumped them already to free up the cash, because on Monday, both Apple and Tesla both start trading at their adjusted price from their splits, and so I think I'm probably going to pick up some Apple shares, probably more Apple. I may grab a share or two of Tesla just to have it and see if it runs it back up. But I think I'll probably end up buying some Apple and just holding on to it for a while. But yeah, I mean, some of the pharmaceutical tech that I've been looking at, I just sort of, I see some of those move real quickly sometimes, and I really think that a lot of those are going to be great in the short term if you can get one that moves quickly. But I think as the pandemic starts to, if we actually get a vaccine and it starts to get under control, I think some of those will start to level out. I think as a long-term play, I think some of the pharmaceutical companies that deal with heart drugs, I think are going to be a big winner, because we know there's going to be, a whole generation of people. We're just going to have this whole COVID, group of people that, we're talking about 5 million plus that we know have tested positive. And that's not even all of the others, probably millions of others that have tested that are positive or had been and don't know it. But there's going to be a lot of people that are going to develop heart conditions as a consequence that may never have had any heart disease before. So, I think something like that may be a play, but I think that's very long-term.
Right. If I had to bank on two pharmaceuticals, ladies and gentlemen, my staples that I think are going to do well and are doing well now, Johnson & Johnson, you want to stick that in your portfolio, and Merck. Merck is coming out with 2 drugs, and one of them is supposed to be an oral drug for coronavirus. Those are the 2 horses I'm betting my money on in the COVID-19 race.
Yeah.
So
Buzz 703 says we need Killmonger to lead us to it in our Civil War. We definitely need Killmonger. We definitely need him.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last part of the video, so I'm going to throw this in here for my man Larry and for my man Buzz. Take a look.
Go ahead and burn all that.
My king, we cannot do that. It is our tradition.
When I tell you to do something, I mean that shit. Burn it all!
I'll tell you, you can just cut that part out where he grabs the auntie and chokes her up. You can just grab him where he says, I said, burn it all, and just leave that for every time. Every time they want to kill somebody, just play that right there. I just said, burn it all.
Burn it all, man. So, having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wish you guys a good weekend from me and Larry. I'll be dropping the P-Valley video. We will be back on Monday. Keep your spirits high, ladies and gentlemen. I know we're dealing with a lot. Black people have had to deal with the most of anybody in this nation, and we want you to keep your spirits high. We're almost to the polls, ladies and gentlemen. Some of y'all will be voting in 3 weeks from now. Ride this thing out. Don't let anyone intimidate you from voting for the group that's going to try to leverage this playing field to help us get things back to normal. Cheer
And
for those
your
protests.
voting plan early.
Yes, get it together. Get it together. Start now. You should have probably already started making sure you know what you're going to do, but get it together now. Enjoy your family over the weekend. And Larry, you get the last word on this one as we get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, vote. Black people, wear your mask. And I mean, vote. Make sure you have a plan. If you don't know where your polling place is, or even if you think you know where your polling place is, check with your county. Check with the elections department in your county, because they are closing polling places all over the place. They are closing them. They're trying to say whether it's because of COVID or whatever else. But some places where you thought you were supposed to vote may not be where you're supposed to vote. You don't want to get caught out there on election day thinking you know where to go, and then that place is closed, and you go to some other place and there's a 3-hour-long line. You don't want that. Make sure you know where you're supposed to vote early. If they allow you to have early voting where you can actually go in person and vote early in person, do that. Most places, if you don't know, in most counties in this country, no matter what state you're in most counties, you can go in to the county office, to the Board of Elections in your county office, show them your ID, and most of the time you can vote early there. So if you're worried about having to go somewhere, if you're handicapped, maybe you're obese and you can't stand up for a long time in lines and you don't want to have to deal with all of that, go vote early.
Vote early, ladies and gentlemen. Wear your mask. And for those of you that live in a town that has an NBA stadium, I got a call from Doc Rivers today. They're doing something where they're uniting Black people, and now you can go register to vote, and they will be allowing voting at the stadiums of professional NBA teams. So as Larry said, double check to make sure your plan is together so that not only we defeat Trump, but we defeat him so bad, we stomp out this Trumpism, that white nationalism, and we get back to loving each other and trying to get Black lives to really matter. And that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, get yourself a life game. Be safe over the weekend. And until that next Sexy as Hell video, we'll see you.